Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of World 1-1 Podcast. I am your host, as always, Larry the Bearded Wonder. Joining me again this week is Corey in Ultra High Def Hudson Derrick.
Yay, it's me. By the way, Larry, so we have some stuff for B-roll in case, or like intro, whatever. Like, I started doing that this week because last week you said we did some things before the show that you said should have been recorded. So from now on, as soon as I get on, I'm starting the video just in case.
Excellent. And also, to my west is Eddie V.
I have brought the Cinnamon Toast Crunch milkshake from Burger King, and it tastes like oatmeal with whipped cream on it.
Christ, why?
Because it was a new milkshake, and I wanted to try it. The Fruit Loop ones was good. I tried that one and the Lucky Charm ones, but the Fruit Loop ones was good. But hey, everybody!
Sometimes I wonder about your food choices, Eddie.
Why?
I wonder a lot. I
don't know.
Every time, a lot of your choices.
Let's see. Last night, you and Jesse in the Arsenal X chat were talking about something, and I woke up and all I heard was something about Panda Express and Philly cheesesteaks, and I'm like, I don't want to know.
No, I was just saying, should I drive to the mall to go get some food, or should I go to Panda Express to get some food? I was letting you guys do my meal choices. Larry, shut it.
Panda Express is terrible.
Shut it. I'm gonna tell you why to shut it. Because when I come back to Indy, to South Bend, you already know what we're doing. We're doing Metroid, and we're doing we still got to do the Italian place. I think we're gonna probably do that first.
Politos. We still haven't hit up Hanayori yet either.
Yeah, we got to do that. That'll probably be like Saturday or Sunday night or something. Oh no.
So, but yeah, food, always food, all the food.
Yeah,
But Panda Express is still awful.
Well, it was because I was by when I went to GameStop. I was just like, I'm by there because I didn't want Jimmy John's or Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's. I had enough of that, so I'm just like, Panda Express. I could have ordered Chili's, but didn't feel like doing that neither.
So, you know what I just realized? I was looking at it at the store yesterday, and the Bowser amiibo for Odyssey looks really nice, except it has this super obvious part where the jaw is like glued on. It is unbelievable. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my Bowser, my Smash Bowser, and he's got it too, but it's not nearly as obvious. Like, what is it about Bowser that they have to glue on the jaw as a separate piece? Why?
It's probably because, like, to get the shape they want, like, from a sculpting perspective, like, they can't get behind his jaw to make the proper, like, neck to Bowser shell chest thing. So, like, they have to have a separate mold for his mouth, because there's a couple other characters that have that, too. Like, my Charizard amiibo, the wings are obviously glued on.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong looks kind of funky. I wish it was Funky Kong. Man, that'd be awesome. I want a Funky Kong amiibo. Just some of the bigger amiibo just have the way they're sculpted. Like Yoshi, like the Yoshi amiibo is a good one too, because like the nose is obviously a separate mold from the rest of Yoshi's face, at least the Smash one. Mm-hmm. So like his nose is obviously glued on. So like, I don't know. It probably just has something to do with the molding and getting it right, because I don't know. It's weird.
I'm telling you though, that Odyssey Bowser though, it is super obvious with that jaw. It's way less obvious on the Smash Bowser, but it's still there.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't. I got the Bowser and the Mario one. I still need to find a Peach one. I couldn't find a 3-pack, so obviously I have to get them separate. So
they had all three at my local Myers.
Really?
Toys R Us was sold out?
I honestly didn't look yet. I've been at work for 3 days straight. Might as well just take a nap there. So
Yeah, my toys had one left. But we got all of them like that Friday morning.
yeah, I'm probably, I don't know. Amazon still has them in stock. I don't know yet. We'll see. I need to get paid first though before I buy anything because too many games.
Exactly.
So, speaking of too many games, we all discussed before the show that Mario Odyssey sucks. So, what else has everybody been playing?
Which games I've been playing? I've played this week. Okay, FIFA 18, Fire Emblem Warriors, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Sonic Mania, Rayman Legends, ARMS, NBA 2K18, Mario Kart 8, Zelda, and Mario Odyssey.
How the fuck do you have time to play all that?
Well, see, when you play games in 15-minute spurts and then you change it out, you get where you need to go.
Once again, I'm going to move you to the corner.
No, but seriously, my wife and I played Mario Kart 8 this week. It's the only game she'll play with me. I play ARMS off and on, actually regularly, because I love ARMS. It's so good. Seriously, ARMS is one of the most underrated IP Nintendo has right now. I wish more people were playing ARMS. And I wish there was more things to do in ARMS in a single-player capacity.
Here's
but
a
it's
question
still really
for
good.
you. Do you think that with the next iteration of Smash, we'll see any ARMS characters?
Yep, I think we'll see ARMS characters. I think we'll see Splatoon characters. And I bet we'll see either Rayman or the Rabbids show up.
Do you think that the ARMS characters might somehow be a little overpowered? I'm trying to balance that reach out.
No, because I think because they have a distance thing, I bet they'll in a lot of they'll probably be mid class to high large class characters, so they'll be slower. So I mean that's where I think they're going to be getting there.
I think
even in ARMS they actually move pretty slow.
Yeah, but that will be Namco Bandai. I think they're gonna do it the next Smash, and so they'll probably adjust the balance, their power balance and hit detection and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we'll see Springman and Ribbon Girl probably are the two that'll probably be in there because he's the boss.
I don't know. They just feel so generic out of all of the ARMS characters. Every other ARMS character has way more fucking personality.
But sometimes
here's the thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, they need a character that's going to stand out and that's going to be looking like the hero or the clean cut image to represent ARMS. This is Nintendo we're speaking about. So
the thing is,
give me Max Brass.
The thing is Springman. There's two versions of Springman already, and they're talking about adding a third one. So Springman is obviously the character they're trying to put front and center for this game, and Ribbon Girl is just the female version of Springman. She's whatever, but it's so weird that the two kind of quote unquote main characters of ARMS are the only characters that don't have names. Yeah. Springman is not a name. It's like a superhero name or whatever. It's not
a title.
It's not like Carl,
Mm-hmm.
Carl that kills people.
Well, I think it's just easier for people to remember, and doing this for a Japanese audience before an American audience.
Yeah.
So
what I would love to see more than Smash characters is just amiibo of ARMS characters. That's what I really want. And they would have the flexible arms similar to the Guardian for the Zelda ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please. Please, Nintendo. Take my money. Haven't taken enough of my money this year yet. Jeez.
Right.
Nintendo is totally Scrooge McDuck in it.
I know.
Dude,
I love tangentially related to ARMS. I love how your shirt just says sports.
I know, right?
Sports.
Perfect for all like sports occasions.
What movie is that from?
It's not. It's from Philip DeFranco.
Oh, I see. I thought that was from a movie. I thought someone like there was like a band song playing, and someone was like sports. Da da da. Because I heard somebody say it, or I think I seen a movie.
No, there's if you go back into some old Podtoid stuff, back when Sumit Sarkar was on, Sumit had a thing for sports games, and there was one episode where he started talking about what he'd been playing over the week, and it was, of course, as always, sports games. And in the editing process, he starts talking about 7 seconds in, and they fade him out, and they replace his talking about sports games with some song where they're just like, sports! Dun, da, da, dun, da, 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 da,
yeah!
Sports! Dun, da, 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 da. But no, the shirt was from Philip DeFranco.
That's funny.
So.
That's funny. Man. But the game I spent the most time this week is obviously Mario Odyssey. It is
it's just awful. I know you said it was like a 1 out of 10 was gracious.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not crazy about it the way that a lot of other people are.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but at the same time, I'm not the person to be talking to about 3D Mario games. I think Super Mario 3D World is better than Mario Odyssey at this point. I feel really overwhelmed with the amount of moons and there's no like what moon you're going after, and like moons vary on whether a tree and found a moon, or I went and did this huge challenge and fought this mini boss at the end, and that gave me a moon. And it's like there's nothing that differentiates the moons. It's just another moon. So like,
well, the boss moons are usually the multi moons.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, yeah, I guess you're right. But like at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm loving my time with it. It's just not doing what Zelda did for me earlier this year. It's Zelda totally redefined the franchise as like this crazy open world game with so much going on in it, whereas Mario's really doubling down on what a 3D Mario game is. And
Zelda went for reinvention. Mario went for refinement.
Yeah, and like I don't really know what I was expecting from this game, and I wasn't really I don't want people to take this the wrong way. For Mario Odyssey, in terms of like how different it would be, but man, 880 moons in this game. It's like, man, how do you track all those down? So like, I don't know. I've put about 8 hours in it. I'm going through each world like really thoroughly the first time around. I have probably 120 moons at this point. Mm-hmm. I just got to the first like this Lost Isle place, so like that's kind of where I'm at right now. It feels really good to play. I think it feels off for some reason because like this is technically the first Mario game with a moving camera, that you can just swing around. Mm-hmm. Because the last 3D Mario game we got was Galaxy, and that was on the Wii. So
yeah.
And the swimming feels really bad. Like the swimming is really bad.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I did some of the side-scrolling swimming stuff, and I was just like, God, this is awful.
I know. I still don't know how to swim down. I'm still like doing the butt. I'm doing the butt stomp, the butt stomp mechanic to get underwater. So
yeah, that's the only way I've figured out how to fucking do it too.
Yeah. But with that said, like I think the level design is awesome. I think the game looks great. It's really beautiful game. Mario controls well. Cappy like capturing things and trying to figure out what to do with different enemies for the first time is really cool. Some of the enemies are timed, some of them aren't. So like I really like the
Oh, he froze.
He did. He froze hardcore. There he goes. Welcome back.
Oh, sorry. I mean, it's it's weird because on the video it's not gonna freeze. So like, I throw the cap on the Scarecrow, and I like the platforming timed challenges. So those are really cool. But at the same time, I don't know if I was scoring this game, I'd probably put it in the low nines. But I mean, it's a Mario game, and it is great. It's fantastic. I know I'm going to see it through because I want to play this before I get into South Park or AC or Wolfenstein. And then I want to play those games before Xenoblade comes out because that's like the next Switch game I'm really excited for.
Right. I will say, I like Odyssey. I do. It's pretty. It's a lot of fun. I am having issues much like you, in the controls department. I don't like the fact that the aiming with Cappy feels janky. Like it should have had a lock on.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was like a Zelda Z targeting type system.
Yeah, every time I go to throw, my finger reaches for a trigger to try and lock onto something, and it's not doing it, and it feels wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's something else too that I was kind of had issue with, was like, when did they take out where, in Mario 64 you could punch and kick things?
Uh-huh.
When did they take that out?
Apparently when they brought in Cappy.
Right after Super Mario 64.
Really?
Yeah, because when Mario Sunshine, you couldn't do that. And even in Galaxy, you couldn't do that.
I mean, it's been so long since I played like a proper 3D Mario game. I guess I just like was expecting to go in there being able to punch things too, and it's not there. Which kind of threw me off a little bit at the beginning, because I was like, oh, there's an enemy here, I'm going to punch him, and I ended up capturing him with the cap because I was throwing my punches with Y. I always got to think about these controllers. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, that's new. So.
Yeah, I do wish there was a distinction with Cappy, where if there was an enemy that you didn't want to capture and you wanted to actually hit, but like the big classic Goombas, not the little mini jaundiced ones. It's what they fucking look like. I'm calling it right now.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Exactly.
The little yellow ones where all you do is hit them and they give you coins.
Yeah. But like I can stomp on the big classic Goombas, but I can't attack them with my hat like I can the little yellow ones. And I wish there was a way to distinguish between the two. Like, honestly, the 3D makes it way harder to, stomp them accurately. And so, you've got this throwing weapon that you can use with sort of a homing feature, kind of iffy. But for them, it's useless because it'll just throw you into them rather than kill them. And that's super annoying. There should have been a way to do that, and they just left it out. So,
yeah, I
it's
do.
Good. It's a lot of fun, but it is not without its issues that could have been improved upon.
Yeah, like this game just kind of like the other thing I miss too is like I know like the capture mechanic is they're trying to do the same thing with the capture mechanic, but I miss power-ups. Like I miss going and finding like the Tanuki suit or the flying cap or Metal Mario, or I miss that part of Mario. And like I understand not the same thing. So like I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I think this is a fantastic game. It is a must-own for Switch. There's just things that hinder it from being like the end-all be-all Mario experience for me.
No, I agree. There's, and I'll tell you flat out all day long, I still think Mario 3 is better than Mario World, and a big part of that was all the fucking suits.
It's true.
That variety of power-ups was awesome. And the fact, too, is those
one
suits
single thing that makes Mario 3 better than the boot. That's it. Just the boot. I'm just kidding.
But yeah,
that's like saying this banana is better than this banana.
Yeah. Now, see, and here's where I'm going with this too. Is playing off of what you said. Odyssey feels like it has all those power-ups, but they're all restricted to where you can use them based on what's around you to capture. You can't take it with you and use it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I really wanted, I could take the fucking frog suit in Mario 3 and go to an airship with it. It's completely impractical, but I could do it because I wanted to.
Yeah, but to be fair, in most 3D Mario games, that's true.
So it just, I don't know. It's just one of those things. You're right. It feels like it's a poor substitute for the full-blown power-ups.
But
not that it's not fun.
Yeah, I do like how dense the worlds are, though.
Yeah,
like the worlds are super dense, and there's like every time you go through another door, there's like a whole nother section of this world. It's like, man, how far does this go? Up, down, left, right, inside itself? Like, man, these worlds are dense. And the soundtrack's really good too.
I'm really, really liking the music in the little woodsy area.
Yeah,
that shit is.
Yeah,
that shit is my jam. I just don't want that music to end ever.
Ed, you're awfully quiet about Mario Odyssey.
Let's hear it, Eddie. What do you got?
It's like I said on Twitter, like I said on Facebook, it is tied up with Breath of the Wild. And these are my reasons. Odyssey is more of a venture platforming game. And the fact that power-ups are taken out, which is fine, because power-ups in any Mario game is restricted to that land. Now, you brought up 3. Well, in Mario Brothers 3, you had to win that power-up, make sure you got it at Toad's house, and you had to save it for a level that you wanted to use it for. And when you do get that power-up in that level, you have to now go through a whole bunch of other levels and make sure that you don't get hit, not to lose that power-up. So, that's Mario 3 with the power-ups. This one, I love the fact that if I want to get that power-up, or if I want to get that ability, it's there. It's there for that land and for that purpose. Anytime you use power-ups in Mario games, it is for a purpose, to get that end star, or in this game, the moon, and to help you explore. It's confined to that land because when you get to different areas, the level design is different and not suitable for that power-up. So I love the fact,
but you could do it if you really wanted
to. But it wouldn't make no sense.
No.
It wouldn't make no sense. I'm not saying that it would break it, but it wouldn't make no sense that if the intended power-up could do it better than some other power-up.
That's half the fun of it, though, is just the fact that it's fucking nonsensical.
But that's if you wanted that to be. Not everybody is that skilled in Mario games yet. Still,
who the hell wants Mario to be sensical? Otherwise, we wouldn't have talking mushrooms.
Well, of course. But
here's a question for you: why is it that we have talking sentient mushrooms, but it's still okay for Mario to go around and eat mushrooms?
Because it's been with the story of Mario. That's what makes Mario.
Like, I feel like when at the beginning of the original Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, we'll specify, you get to the end of the first fucking Bowser fight, and you cross that bridge, and there's Toad, who would normally tell you, "Thanks, Mario, but our princess is in another castle." What he should have been saying is, "You bastard, you ate my cousin Jim."
Toad is different than the mushrooms.
But he's a fucking mushroom.
No, not really.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. Toad is not a mushroom.
Toad's a fucking mushroom.
He's part of the mushroom kingdom, but he's not a mushroom.
Toadstool. It's a mushroom.
How?
That's what a toadstool is. It's a mushroom. It's a thing that toads sit on. That's why it's called a toadstool.
No, it's not.
A mushroom. Dude, he's a sentient stalk with a mushroom cap.
How?
Go back and look at him.
How?
He's a fucking mushroom. He should be screaming that you
Nothing
just
in
ate
the
my
Nintendo
cousin
and nothing
Jim,
in the
you bastard.
Nintendo storyline does it say that Toad is a mushroom. So there.
You don't have
I'm
to
going
say
to
it
continue
explicitly.
with me describing what I've been playing and what I love about Odyssey.
All right,
I just
here
realized, why
is
is Toad
the
not in Smash?
here's the official Nintendo wiki on Toad as a character.
Oh Lord.
Toad is a humanoid mushroom character who serves as a major ally for Mario and Luigi in the Super Mario Brothers line of games. As
Right
an-
there.
You said
You
but
ate
he's
my
not.
cousin
You said he
Jim.
was a mushroom. This
Yeah.
That's humanoid mushroom, whatever that means.
He's still a fucking mushroom.
No,
It
it's
means
not.
he's a mushroom. He's a mushroom that it's the same as like
He's
It's
an
the same
anthropomorphized
thing.
mushroom.
like he's pretty much the vegetable version of like Sonic the Hedgehog, where like yes, Sonic is a hedgehog, but he talks, he stands up, he wears shoes.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything else off the top of my head. So Sonic the
Well, I
Plus there's a-
completely here.
Can
Plus
I,
there's a Sonic
can I
Forces
continue
ad
with
on
what
this
I've been
wiki page,
playing
so-
and my thoughts on Odyssey? Please. Thank you.
We'll allow it if you concede that Mario ate his cousin Jim.
Toad first became playable in Super Mario Brothers 2.
That is true.
He is also the fastest and stronger one, though he has the weakest jump.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, God. Eddie, tell us about Odyssey and you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to know what Toad was.
Oh, he froze again. Oh, so, but Odyssey is up there with Breath of the Wild for me. I think the problems that you guys have, I don't see it there. I really don't care for, I mean, it doesn't need a lock on because it's so easy to, use Cappy and throw it in the direction that you need to use it. So I didn't have no problems with it. I am so much digging this game, and I love just exploring. Like this game doesn't tell me, oh, you need to go here, or you need to do this. It's literally like, well, this is the thing, so just make sure that you get to it. Other than that, you're free to go. And on your way there, you'll be able to find more moons. So I love how adventurous it is. And then getting my coins and the special coins to go to the shop to buy outfits and stuff, and using those outfits for a purpose, maybe to get into another part of the level and things like that. Like it's big. They really changed the formula of Mario with this, and I really appreciate that. And I love the fact that I don't have to worry about power ups or anything. If I want to find an enemy with a certain power, I just go there, capture it, and then go to my objective if I want to, or keep on exploring. Where in other past Mario games, I had to sometimes go back to another level to get this power up, to save it, get through that level, and then use it for the next challenge that needed that power up, because that power up wouldn't be in that particular level. So yeah. I love the fact that all the challenges, like everything is there, so you don't have to backtrack. Now, if you want to backtrack back to the NAS to get more moons, you can, and that's the option that I like. And so that's why I feel like with Breath of the Wild and with Mario Odyssey, how they both just complement each other in a lot of things. And probably like the two biggest and strongest games of 2017. Like, I think, like, I kind of feel like Mario Odyssey just destroys Horizon and destroys Cuphead and destroys whatever PlayStation put out this year. Like, even Hellblade, I think Mario Odyssey has destroyed. And I know a lot of people love those games and stuff, but there's something about Odyssey that is just so fun to play, and you can spend as much time with it and take your time with it for months. Where I feel like everything else that came out this year, besides like Breath of the Wild, is that you'll get a short amount of time onto that game and then move on. Odyssey doesn't feel like that. You know, a lot of people have moved on from Cuphead. A lot of people have moved on from South Park. And it just feels like, with Odyssey, I think a lot of people are just going to keep playing it until maybe the end of the year. And you're going to be seeing some crazy stuff that you didn't know that was in the game. Like, I'm seeing people getting ready to speed run this game and learn it inside out with the jumps and jumping off of Cappy and going up. Like, someone did something on Twitter on how to get a moon that wasn't even intended for them to get. Like, they did some kind of jumping mechanic and was able to get up there. I'm like, that's impossible, but they did it. So that's the stuff I'm getting ready to see. And I love that someone figured that out, and people are figuring that out in Odyssey.
So what I'm hearing is that your nominee for Game of the Year this year is Knack 2.
Electric Boogaloo expansion pack.
Shut up.
Knack 2, Return of Jafar, back in the act.
No, I'll wait for Knack 2 to go to 1999 before I get that. But yeah, Odyssey and
I'm not even going to waste my money on Knack 2. I
will
didn't waste my money on Knack 1.
I got Knack 1 for cheap, so that's why.
And I got a PS4 at launch. I bought Killzone instead.
Like everybody else. But that's the bad when PS4 came out, because everybody was just like, all you really need is Resogun. Like, people were talking about Resogun was better than Killzone.
I know. I think I played Resogun for like the first 2 weeks I had a PS4.
And that game was free.
And everything else I got, like, I was going to get Black Flag, but I'm like, nah, I get it for Wii U. I don't even think, like, honestly, I don't think I touched my PS4 outside of Resogun after I beat Killzone for like 6 months because I was too busy playing Wii U.
Well, shoot, I got my PS4.
I love my Wii U.
I got my PS4 with the Star Wars Battlefront, and didn't even hook it up for almost 2 whole weeks after I got it. I was still playing Xbox One and Wii U and 3DS. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this other system that I need to hook up and play. Yikes.
So I will say, you hit on something that I really do like about Odyssey, though. One of the things that I just did not like at all about Mario 64 is when you jump into one of the painting worlds, it would give you a list of like the different stars you could go after, but whichever one you picked was the only star you could get at that point. So if you saw something else that looked interesting and got distracted, you couldn't go after that star without jumping out of the painting and like fucking starting it over again.
Right.
Versus Odyssey, you can just go into world by world and just go for all the moons that are there. And then on top of that, it won't start you back at another point once you get that moon. It's like, hey, you found this moon, now just keep going.
Right.
And I so adore that fact over Mario 64. And that was one of the biggest things that pissed me off in 64.
And I like that. Like, there's just stuff hidden to make you work to find it. You know, because I'm still on the Wooden Kingdom, and out of the 54 moons, I got 25. Because I think I got most of the moons that are on the top part, but then there's the deep woods. So now there's like a whole new section that's like really quiet and really dark that I have to try to find moons and stuff. And I love that it just has it, you know. And it just breaks down the list on when you find that, you be like, oh, this was the challenge. Okay. And you can continue on from there.
Yeah.
You know?
that's another thing that I think they've done really well is they've put just enough moons between you and like the end boss of each section,
Hmm.
so that if you're not digging that world or that kingdom, by the time you hit that boss, you'll have enough moons to move to the next one.
Right.
Or if you are liking it, you can just sit there and play around and find as many more as you want until you're bored of it. And that fact is, I think, a tremendous help with Odyssey.
It's funny they
It
actually.
doesn't hold you hostage in any section any longer than you really want to be there.
It's funny that they actually let Bowser speak in this game. Like they gave him subtitles to speak. I'm like, well, this is a first in a sense, because anytime he speaks is always in the not Paper Mario, the Mario and Luigi games. That's the
I've
most.
spoken the Paper Mario stuff too, but yeah, no. The
Oh
point you
yeah,
made.
the Paper Mario stuff. But like to actually see his lips move and hear him growl like, "Rawr, rawr,
Yeah.
rawr," I'm like, this is a nice. Because mostly he'll just laugh, do a grunt, and then move on. Like,
Mhm.
so it's good to see that he's done something in this game. Yeah, the graphics are beautiful and everything. I've literally been playing it in handheld mode. I've been taking it everywhere, and as I wait, I just put it out and just start playing it. It's so good. Like it, I believe it deserves the 9.75 from Game Informer, and it definitely deserves the 10 from IGN. Like it's up there with Breath of the Wild. Like I said, and it's really tied up now. Me and Corey have discussed this for Game of the Year. I still feel that, and I'm gonna finish, and I'm gonna try to do my best to finish Odyssey. But Breath of the Wild, I think we had more of a conversation, and it did more for a genre than Mario Odyssey is doing. You know, Mario Odyssey has it's kind of like almost another system seller with Breath of the Wild. Where Breath of the Wild, I mean, it's a system seller, but it did more to change the genre and really make people in the industry who make games like this role play, those are what kind of role playing games, make them actually rethink on their mechanics and gameplay. So Breath of the Wild does more than Odyssey, but Odyssey is definitely a reason to own a Switch along with Breath of the Wild. So that's another system seller.
I definitely agree with you. Like, I know we kind of talked like the bad things in Odyssey aren't bad. I think Larry and I are just nitpicking at this point because like Mario Odyssey is a fantastic game. And like I mean, I've said this before, you know, I've said this probably 100 times where like I prefer the 2D Mario games over the 3D. I really love 3D World. I love when you go into an area and it, like in Zelda, it's different because part of the experience, right? Whereas, and for me, Mario has always been get from point A to point B, but in between, and like Mario, I think that's why I like Mario 64 so much, is because like you go into the world and it gives you that blue star, and you're like, okay, I got to race the Koopa to the top of the mountain, or I have to fight, you know, King Bob-omb at the top of the mountain, you know? Whereas Odyssey is kind of throws you into this world, and you just keep going and going until you, like, get every moon you can, and then you look at the list in that world, and it's like, oh, well, I still have, like, 20 moons to get. Where are they, you know? It's like, so...
Yeah, and I will say this, because some people are loving New Dunk City, and I really can't wait. I actually like the cover of Odyssey. When you look inside, the song lyrics are on the back of the cover. I thought that was so cool for them to put that. I was just like, oh, that's a nice touch. But yeah, people were getting the game from Japan in events. They was buying the import copy because they couldn't wait. So that's good to hear. But moving on from Odyssey, Fire Emblem Warriors, loving this game. Oh, just love the hack and slashing, and it's still funny as ever. But just great combat. Played more of Yono and Celestial Elephant. I'm almost done with it. I'm actually at a boss that's giving me quite a challenge, which is exciting to actually have a challenge in that game, because like most of the whole game is not challenging, but this boss is, so that's a good sign. But yeah, played Gears of War 4 with Jesse Douglas from Arsenal X. And with the area that we played, he's never got into. So we were going through the mines to get what's his name back? JD's dad back. Marcus Phoenix, to get him back. So we was doing all of that, and because we were playing on mines, I had to reset change my difficulty, because we was playing on hardcore instead of playing it on like a lower difficulty. So I put it on easy, like real easy and stuff, and we were just having a ball. But there came one part where we was finding these enemies, and I ended up dying because I got chainsawed by enemy. So we restarted from that point. Every time we got to that point, it would make the music and the enemies want to come out. We literally had to restart that chapter from that beginning of that part to restart it. So we couldn't get through it at all, because the game glitched and bugged out and wouldn't let us fight those enemies again. I was just like, oh, dang it. But yeah, we did some Gears of War 4 and had a ball with that. But like I said, with PS4, I'm going to be getting into Wolfenstein 2 very soon. I'm going to be playing Technomancer. I'm going to be jumping in The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2. I'm going to play some of that and give thoughts about those games. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
I really feel like they missed an opportunity with Evil Within 2. They should have just called it Evil Without.
Oh wow! The Turing test I'll be returning to also. I just got with Odyssey and got with Gears and Halo 5. I'm about to finish that up because I'm halfway done with that game. Before I jump on Halo 4.
I can't. The more and more I watch on Assassin's Creed, the more and more I want to play it. Like I know in my heart of hearts, I'm probably going to be disappointed as I am with every Assassin's Creed I play, except for Black Flag and Brotherhood, I guess. But like, man, that game looks so just good. I want to explore ancient Egypt. I think it looks cool, and I can't wait to play it. But probably won't be playing it till the end of November because of birthdays and holidays and other things.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to get done with stuff because, like Corey, I'm like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Collection Edition with the controller. Yeah, I'm locked in for December.
Dude, I cannot wait for Xenoblade.
Yes.
So some new stuff that we missed out on last week due to artificial time constraints. Eddie,
what's going on?
We had to do. So Jesse was waiting.
Right, I had another podcast to do.
Jesse could sit and wait.
No, he can't. Don't give me no sass.
Could have dialed him in.
No.
Anyways, announced last week, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are going to be the last mainline Pokemon on the 3DS.
Yes! Nail that sucker home.
The question is...
I'm sorry, but that's the nail in the coffin for the 3DS. I'm sorry. It just is. Like,
now we can just unleash the cavalcade of Kirby games.
Yeah. You're wrong. 3DS... Great little system. A lot of amazing games on that system. It's time. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. Switch is amazing. Mario Odyssey is out. Pokemon's coming to Switch. It's time.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll be bringing out a new handheld. They're not about to let that
they said too that the next mainline Pokemon is coming to Switch.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense.
Which makes me think, because they said, like, they didn't say, like, their B team is working on this one. They did say, like, the younger people in the Pokemon company are working on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, while the A team is working on the Switch version, which makes me think they're doing everything they possibly can to get it out by next holiday.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I do.
Oh,
I think Nintendo's going to try so hard to get that out by next holiday.
Yeah. Pokemon makes too much money in November. $4 million for Sun and Moon.
I'm just thinking that considering the fact that when they announced it, they didn't even have a logo for it.
Well, that's fine, but it's Pokemon. What logo do you need? All you need to know is the
You
name.
at least put up a logo.
All you need to know is a name, and it's coming to a system, and that's it.
That just tells me it's super, super early, though.
Well, yeah, they haven't shown nothing, so that's why I feel like they'll show something at E3, and if they could get it out at 2018 in the fall, that's more money for them because November.
Well, if they can, yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen. I seriously don't think it's going to be that fast of a turnaround.
Well,
I think you're giving them way too much credit.
I mean, well, we'll have to see,
especially for working on new hardware.
We'll have to see what gets announced for November because besides if there's another Call of Duty that's coming in November, what other game is going to be in that month to take over? Because Infinity Warfare, as much as money that it made, a lot of people really weren't feeling it.
Yeah, Infinite Warfare didn't make that much for them, though. That's a big part of the problem. But I tell you what, Eddie, I'm going to bet you a hearty, phenomenal steak dinner that Pokemon on Switch, mainline series Pokemon on Switch, does not make it out by the end of next year.
Depending on our direct in spring and what we get in E3.
Nah, we're calling it right now. You take that bet. You're so sure it's coming out 2018. I'm saying it's not.
If they could get,
you have the conviction?
If they could get it out in November 2018, I'll be down for that. That's why I said it's going to be. We'll see when it comes to their first direct in spring and what happened in E3. Now, if it is planned for 2018 or it gets delayed, we won't know. But I'm betting they're putting all their eggs into getting that game out by next year.
Yeah, I really think they're going to try to do everything they possibly can to get it.
Right. Nintendo want to space their games where that's going to make them money. And if they don't have anything for this holiday season, that's going to not bring concern, but that's going to give the competition to Microsoft or to Sony for the holiday. Because pretty much right now.
Why are you so determined that they don't have anything else they can put out holiday 2018?
Well,
because
there's probably going to be Fire Emblem with it if Metroid gets pushed. Because like in the spring, I could see them doing like, okay, Wolfenstein is obviously probably going to be in the spring. I think Yoshi and Kirby are going to be spring games. There's no point in putting those games out in the fall. Octopath Traveler. As much as we're excited for that game, I don't think it's really a big system seller. I mean, I think one or two, I think a couple people will buy a Switch for that game, but I think, Fire Emblem and Pokemon are the big games that they've announced so far. And Metroid will obviously be 2019. The more and more I think about it, the more, I think it all depends on what the February Direct does, and then E3.
Right. Nintendo wants to have a strong fall and winter quarter. So they
other thing is they want to follow up this year, man. How are you going to beat this year?
Right. And they announced that some of their lower tier games are coming to Switch, are going to have Switch versions. So let's say a Pokemon doesn't get Does it come out in November 2018? If Nintendo could show off a raw version or a remake version of Advance War from the regular when it first came out on Switch, that's going to bring those fans of that series back to Nintendo. And that's going to revive the Advance War franchise.
Yeah, but I don't think if they were doing an Advance War, releasing Fire Emblem and Advance Wars in the same year because it's the same company.
Well, yeah, it's the same company, but that's just double money for Nintendo and double money for Intelligent System. I think it's Intelligent System. I think that's it.
Yeah, but I don't think Advance Wars is a big enough franchise for them to do that, though.
It is. A lot of people have been crying for Advance Wars, and they stopped crying about it because Nintendo wasn't delivering on it. But that's why I said
were crying for Mirror's Edge too, and look what happened.
Well, that was more EA's fault than that. I mean,
so.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say with Mirror's Edge that people believe that if they would have removed that combat and just made it and focused more on a parkour game, with it, I think people would have enjoyed Mirror's Edge more. But they put in some kind of like fighting mechanics and stuff, and that combat didn't make the game good for a lot of people. But
so, in other unshocking news that we didn't get to last week, EA did an EA thing, and it killed Visceral Studios. That genuinely breaks my heart.
Yeah. But did you read some of the stuff that Kotaku was putting out, though, this past week?
I don't read Kotaku because it feels like God's wrath on the eyes.
I thought that was NeoGaf.
That's NeoGaf's pretty bad, too. But
Well, they closed NeoGaf, so...
Well, like, they came out and said, like, Visceral was having trouble there's drama within the studio.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have the budget to keep up with demand, and like they were trying to make some creative choices that, you know, had to cut corners, and which was producing bad asset design and bad game design. And
yeah, EA.
One thing I think is funny is that if they didn't have the budget to keep up with demand, their budget's being set by EA, and EA's probably the one making the demands. So
yeah,
I'm going to sit here and say EA's fault.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast, and it was reported that, or they were speaking to some of the people who kept anonymous. They said EA wanted them to make a game that was going to be a 90 or more on Metacritic, and they were just like, and then with Amy Hennig, you know, they were having problems with her because EA, I think, was trying to change stuff, and like that stuff wasn't gelling well, like I think reports and stuff are coming out from it. But I'm like, to force a game to be a 90 plus on Metacritic, that's not going to happen.
I'm going to sit here and point out some of the flaws in all this shit. One, no game developer puts together a game going, I want this game to be shit. This game has to be the fucking... Of course we want it to score well.
I don't know. We got Octodad.
Octodaddy at least had a vision of something he wanted to do. And
that was a joke,
for
though.
the sake of silly.
But we got Right to Hell.
Puts out a game that it intentionally makes an awful game unless you're, I don't know, Jeff Minter. Fuck you, Space Giraffe. But in any case...
But Larry, we got Right to Hell, too.
Somewhere, somebody working on that thought it was good. Genuinely thought it was good. But the other thing, though, is that, like you said, you know, EA was forcing Visceral to make changes to shit they were working on. We already know what the fuck that looks like and what it does to a series. You do that and you end up with Dead Space 3.
No, you do that and you end up with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Or half of your team leaves to go make Call of Duty.
No, you do that shit and you end up with Dead Space 3. You take a series that, you know, was fantastic at what it did, and then you let EA and its corporate hounds start, you know, tweaking shit to whatever their liking is, and then you end up with a game that is just a shell of the series that spawned it, rather than
Well,
having any of the heart and soul of that series.
because it just showed that EA themselves were greedy. With all those microtransactions, oh, you need this part to get this for this blueprint. Here, you could buy it for $2.99. Like, it literally showed that EA was greedy. And the sad thing about it is that EA was on track of getting out of the title of being the worst company of all time. Like, they do a poll with people to see who's the worst company of all time, and EA was almost out of it. And then they pulled this shenanigans and just dropped them right back in.
No, but I mean, this is what EA does. They buy up studios, and they beat them, they pulp them, they bleed them dry until there's nothing but a husk left. And then when that happens, they go, we're done. We've gotten everything we can out of this, rather than nurturing it and helping it grow into something bigger.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
I mean, I think part of the thing too is like, even like the staff, quote unquote, having drama with the higher ups. I think like another thing too is Amy Hennig is used to having a team with, because Sony would always provide you with a bigger budget because they're making money off of other things,
right.
Whereas EA is all about we need to continue making money. How do we keep doing this? We're not making any money from your franchise because there's nothing else pulling in money for us, besides their other games. But like, you know what I mean? Like Sony's first party budget, she always had that, whereas now she's working with a limited budget with EA. And so that I could see them button heads there too.
I had an analogy for this in my head earlier this week, and it was something to the effect of EA is like Galactus, and we, the consumers, are just Silver Surfer. We refuse to let it die. We keep feeding it so long as it just keeps that one thing alive that we just refuse to let go of. And in this case, I think for EA, it's sports games. It is honestly what's keeping EA afloat. Like, if everyone decided we could live without EA's fucking sports games, we could stop buying the rest of their shit and let EA die and stop killing and eating other studios.
Well, it would have to. Well, with the sports games, it's going to have to be with the leagues. Actually, they will have to break their contracts with EA because they're the ones that
they don't have to break their contracts. We just have to stop buying it.
But if the leagues stopped their contracts with EA, then what would EA start doing? Because EA is going to be in a big financial trouble. Everybody's going to be like, well...
That's the point. We want EA in financial trouble so that they die and stop killing all the studios that make good things.
Well, then everybody who gets that, they're going to be like, well, where do I go for my sports games? And the only thing we're going to have, we're going to have Forza and GT for Sony and Microsoft, and our only real sports game that we're going to have is MLB The Show.
Well, we'll have NBA 2K.
You've got 2K. That's a whole franchise that could rise to prominence again. Because for a hot minute there, they were doing way better than all the EA Sports stuff.
Well, that's going to be if the NFL goes back to 2K to do the NFL games.
That's honestly the only reason that's the only thing that did in the 2K Sports stuff is that EA snapped up exclusivity contracts with the different leagues.
Yeah,
had it not been for that issue, the 2K stuff was outdoing EA hand over fist, and that's why EA locked in those contracts.
When 2K did when they did that last NFL game for $20, and it played better than that Madden game, everybody was buying that. So in order to stop that, they brought out that contract, or they did something with the NFL for them to finalize. Someone have a monopoly on it.
EA threw fuck tons of money at the NFL to lock up an exclusivity deal. And that's a case in point of EA being Galactus. They literally just threw fucking enough money at something to kill a better game.
I don't even, and I
Nothing
think
about EA is good here.
I don't think
There is
they
nothing
got a big
defensible.
return on their investment because all the meta games has just have been going down in sales. Like,
But they're
I
still
just-
making the money because it's the only NFL game.
well, yeah, but the thing about they'll make their money at Christmas. They don't make that money when the game releases. There's been a lot of slow purchases for Madden, but it'll ramp up once it gets to once it gets to holiday season for I guess Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all that other mess. That's when Madden will pick up in sales. But when this new Madden came out, wasn't nobody buying it. I may have at my job. I may have only sold about 6 copies for both systems.
I think you're looking at a small slice of the pie, and I think we talked about this too. I do think that a bigger portion of the sports game sales are coming digitally now. I don't think we can look to retail to really get an accurate perception of how these games are selling anymore.
I mean, I think even with digital,
I really had no intention about talking about sports games this much, but I'm really glad I wore the sports shirt now.
sports. I think
Sports.
sports. I think even with digital sales for Madden and stuff, there's no conversation. I feel like if you was doing physical or digital, a conversation about Madden should still be ongoing, and it's not. Now,
Yeah.
FIFA,
I think the ongoing conversation about Madden is that, man, I wish I had my PS2 still so I could play Madden 05.
Ouch.
yikes.
Harsh.
But
No, like, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like, I literally just had this conversation 2 days ago with a bunch of people that I work with because like they were debating on whether or not to get Madden this year because it's not great, and they realized that, and they're like, man, I wish we could just get like PS2 Maddens because those games played really good, and like I'm like, well, I'm not going to disagree with you, you know, because like that's the reason why I stopped buying Madden. I wish, like, if I could, I would still buy Madden every year because I enjoy Madden when it works. But if you give me this control scheme where I have to like predict what my guy's going to do instead of him just doing it when I hit a button or a direction, like that's not the football game I want to play. So I stopped buying Madden, you know. And it sucks because like I don't have any other option, you know. I really don't have any other option. So like I told Ed, I was really surprised at how well FIFA played this year because like, you know, I haven't really bought a FIFA game. I bought FIFA 13 on Wii U, and I bought Cube and PS2, but like FIFA's not a game I'm going to buy every year because I don't keep up with soccer enough to know like, okay, this player plays for this club now and like whatever, you know. I just don't keep up with it. I'm sorry. There's too many leagues. There's too many different whatever. But like NBA 2K is a game that I do buy every year, right? Because it's good and I enjoy playing it. But like Madden doesn't play well, so I stopped buying it. The last time I bought Madden, it was $6. Like Madden 16 was $6 during the Super Bowl that year, and it was only on Super Bowl Sunday from like noon to midnight. It was $6, so I bought it, and I played it. Man, I really wish I would have spent the $6.
Ouch.
But before that, I hadn't bought Madden. I've been with my wife 4.5 years, and I've bought one version of Madden since I've known her.
Hear that, EA? Get your shit together.
And it sucks because like I'm a huge football fan, but I can't play Madden because I can't control the players the way I want to. It's kind of unacceptable, you know?
Yep.
Now,
thanks, Galactus.
It's like, man, this version's supposedly not great either.
Everybody just want that old school Tecmo Bowl to come back.
And you know what? it's not because I'm a Browns fan and I only play at the Browns. That's not the reason why Madden sucks.
I really wonder what if NFL Blitz would have made a return.
Well, they tried, didn't they, with Blitz the League?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. I mean, like the NFL actually went after them because it was too realistic on what really happens in the NFL being exposed. No, because I remember that they went after Blitz the League that year, and they went after ESPN because they did that. They did a small stint of like trying to create original content for ESPN, and they made this really awesome show called Playmakers, and it was all about like it was a fake league of like fake teams and stuff, but like it was all about like what the players do off the field, right? And some of them were beating their wives, some of them were taking steroids, some of them were drinking too much, taking drugs, and it's like, and the NFL went after them because they're like, look, you can't be doing this because we're already having issues with that in our own, you know. So I mean, that show was really good too.
So I heard that actually the newest iteration of Madden coming out next year, though, special edition, comes packed with a football that doesn't inflate all the way.
Well, they already have a cheater on the cover this year, so.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Actually, which is weird, the only collection that Madden does is with Microsoft making it a bundle game with the system. Like, that's it? That's the only special thing y'all gonna do with Madden? Okay. Y'all really do it down
They
here.
did that.
They did one super expensive special edition.
Yeah, they did they did a $99 one this year too, but it was so you could. They gave you like, it was something stupid. Like they gave you $50 worth of my team cards for $40.
Credits to spend on microtransactions.
Yeah, pretty much.
But there's like no kind of collector's item. Like there's no items or a soundtrack or anything like that.
No. Man, Madden soundtracks used to be great too. Man, some of those songs, dude.
Sports games, as much as I didn't care for them, and it's not my thing, they really did used to have some fucking banging music.
Yeah, the licensed music. That was the
Dude,
way.
I remember back in the day when I worked at the game shop, we had, a couple of decent little sound systems for, $100 that we'd hook up, and one of the best ways to demo it was throwing a copy of like Gran Turismo 3 and just crank the volume.
Yeah, they had that really awesome Snoop Dogg song, and like 99 Red Balloons would play back to back. It's like, oh, this is a weird, cool mix of music, I guess.
Yeah, NBA 2K used to have some, and the early Madden used to have some. I think NBA Live did too at some point. Had licensed music.
Yeah. Probably that whole stint of PS2 era games had licensed music.
But that was just good advertising and marketing for those actual bands and their albums.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know who had really great fucking soundtracks though were the SSX games.
Yeah.
God, those were good.
Yeah.
Oh.
I miss SSX. I was thinking about SSX the other day. Why don't we get a new like SSX game that was like the PS2 ones, not the 360 one that came out a couple years ago? But
I liked the 361.
I didn't play it, to
a lot
be
of
honest.
fun.
To be honest,
Give it
I
a
think
fair
a lot
shake.
about. I just think about Tricky and and like SSX 1 was cool too, but like Tricky and 3 were like really awesome, and I'm just like, why can't we just get this goofy sports game thing coming back? Like a $40, $30, $40 download game that's just like, okay, give me like 12 tracks, give me like 15 characters. Like, I think that'd be really cool, but like, it would be a $60 package. EA would put it out, and then they charge you like $75 for a bunch of loot boxes, and you might get the board you want. And it's just like, man, it just ruined my day thinking how awesome SSX would be coming back, but then realizing that, oh, you get
EA would EA it up.
yeah, all of your like characters, you unlock them, but all the different outfits come in loot boxes, and you have to loot box your way to the stuff you want. And it's just like,
I think that would definitely. I think loot boxes should be killing games that use them.
but they're not, because such a large majority of people buy games that aren't into everything that we're into.
Mhm.
So like when Battlefront comes out, the hardcore people, like I've already decided I'm probably not going to buy Battlefront 2
I'm
unless
not buying it.
somebody gets it for me. You know, I'm going to red box it and play through the campaign and take it back. And it sucks because like I like that, but like, you know, the whole thing, vote with your wallet or whatever, like, I mean, I'm just going to red box it and play through the campaign and then be done with it, you know? But like 90% of the people who play that game don't even know about the visceral game or the visceral closing or
Yeah.
all the crap that EA is going through right now, which is like the sad part, you know? And like it's going to alone, which don't get me wrong, the gameplay in Battlefront is great and the game looks fantastic, but it's like I don't want to support in their jobs by buying Battlefront.
Well, this is the thing with the Star Wars license. Do you think that Disney's going to take it back and EA is going to give up on it? Because
Well,
if
I don't think it's going to cost Disney a lot more money to back out of the contract than it would just to let EA ride out the contract.
well,
And
because
I don't think Disney wants to do that, especially with their Marvel projects gaining steam at Square now.
Enix.
So
well, it's going. Well, what do we have now? And you know what? I probably got to watch the E3 again, where they was announcing what. Because was it 3 Star Wars games planned? Because we got Battlefront 2, the Visceral games got
there's the mobile
canceled.
There's 3 games announced at that press conference, and then Battlefront 2 obviously was announced afterwards. But like we got 4 games, I guess. Battlefront 2, the Visceral game, the mobile game, and then Respawn's game was announced 6 months after,
Okay.
because Respawn's working on a single player action linear game because they hired the God of War combat team from God of War 2 and 3. So like, you know, that's going to be a stylus action game with lightsabers probably.
Well, I just wonder.
Which is like, if you're gonna make one of your Star Wars games a games as service, why don't you pair Respawn with DICE and like open world Destiny like for Battlefront?
Because they got Anthem.
Yeah, they got Anthem, but they're already turning this game into a games as service from Visceral. So why don't you do it with the people who know about shooting mechanics and know about different weapons and how they do different things? And like, you know, with Titanfall, the adjustments that they make with the different Titans, like they obviously know how to make different types of quote unquote armor sets with the Titans and the different weapons and the different attachments to the weapons. Like, wouldn't you want those 2 teams working on a Destiny-like game as opposed to, you know, the single-player action game that Visceral was making? Like, I don't know. Everything just seems backwards right now, man. And it's not like Respawn's fault that they're doing this or DICE's fault or whatever. You know, it's just like, I mean, we talked about this enough last week where like EA's just mismanaging everything, which is why we've only gotten 2 Star Wars games. 3 now, I guess.
You know, you just hit on something too that makes me wonder. I've been sitting here kind of thinking about it, going, you know, as badly as EA is mismanaging all kinds of shit, how long until EA mismanages themselves out of business finally?
The next
I
10
don't think.
years.
Well, I mean, I don't think so, because they still like their sports games, as bad as they like some of them play. Like they're still selling those. Like NHL. Madden's the only football game. FIFA's the superior soccer game.
Yeah.
NBA Live is it's doing whatever it's doing. I don't know.
For me personally, I think it's gonna be in the next 10 years, and I think it's gonna be on production costs. And
I think EA is. I don't think they're going to go out of business. I think they're going to find themselves in some trouble outside of their sports games real soon, and like I think they're going to try to rebuild their management team. You know, I think they're going to, like, their investors are going to see what's going on, and they're going to rebuild their management team at the top. So I don't know. We'll see. Like, they're just totally mismanaging the Star Wars license real bad, and I wonder how much of an influence Disney has on this versus, and I wonder how Disney feels if it's not Disney's fault, how they feel about EA's mismanagement of this property.
Well, I think if EA didn't buy BioWare, I think Disney and BioWare would have teamed up to make some better Star Wars games.
I think, like, bringing up BioWare, talk about a team that's been mismanaged. Like, my big fear is that BioWare is going to be the next studio that's closed.
Yeah.
Especially if Anthem isn't the game they want it to be. Like, I'm really worried about BioWare. And, like, for me, the first cry of help was, like, rehiring Casey Hudson to bring him back and, like, try to, like, stop the bleeding, But, like, I'm really scared about BioWare. And, like, I know the former BioWare guys that, we all, the old PC games and then Mass Effect and then Knights of the Old Republic, like, that team is probably long gone. But just, like, the spirit of BioWare, that's going to probably hit harder to most people than the Visceral closing,
And I think that is going to make EA the target of not getting the support, and maybe people who don't pay attention to that will still be buying sports games for EA to keep them afloat. But I think some of the bigger and hardcore gamers who love BioWare and love the other EA stuff games, I think they're just going to finally refuse and give it up. And I think that's when EA is going to find themselves in trouble. Because if the sports fans are not buying their sports games and people are really not buying into their other type of games, the other genres, that's going to kill EA tremendously. So the discussion of loot boxes and stuff like that wouldn't even matter when their business is falling apart.
And that makes me wonder, like, we already know Mass Effect isn't coming back anytime soon, which makes me really sad. Which is another kind of franchise that if you're going to turn your single-player franchises into games of service, like, Mass Effect seems like an easy transition into that, where, like, people can team up and fly on a ship together to these planets and take on missions to get new gear and stuff. But, like, that's a whole different topic for another day. But what's going to happen to Dragon Age? What's going to happen to, some of these other projects they're working on? Like, think of all the IP, like the beloved IP that they have now that are single-player focused that will probably never see the light of day again. Dead Space, Mass Effect, Dragon Age. What are some other ones?
Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, like even Battlefield Bad Company, like, what a single player focused Battlefield game is not coming back, It's just man.
Yeah.
Oh well, I think we've probably gone on about long enough here. So with that, I would just say, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play Music, whatever your platform of choice is, or you can always, of course, find us at our home on shoutengine.com. We appreciate if you hit like on the Facebook page, both World 1-1 Podcast as well as NGR Radio. You can also check us out on the NGR YouTube page. Click the subscribe and the little bell button there so you get notified when all the cool shit goes up.
Ring that bell. Ring that
bell. So that's enough of that. And we'll be back next week. We love you.
Yay.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time on World 101.
Good night.